Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. We're heading down to the South Coast for this one. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Bournemouth correspondent. It's Neil Grover. How are you, Neil?
Doing well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you, buddy. And our Tottenham Hotspur correspondent, Ricky Saunders, is in. How are you, Ricky?
All good, thanks, mate. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you, mate. Neil, I want to ask you firstly the question that everybody has on their minds. Is Justin Kluivert on penalties?
It's a stark contrast from this time last year, isn't it?
I
It's,
want to
it's
hear
just,
no more whinging from you, boy.
I mean, they were all Stonewall. I don't know what to say.
They were. Well, the first one a little bit maybe, but the other two were.
Yeah, yeah. It's just I enjoyed watching the when they just zoom in on Saar and he's just like, I've made a mistake.
Did we know
But
for sure he was on penalties?
so apparently, he was on penalties before the Chelsea game, but because Evan Nilsson hadn't scored, they gave it to him. So we all assumed that Evan Nilsson would be straight on penalties because Solanke was. Uh, Apparently not. Apparently it was Clivert, and they just took pity. So now he's absolutely on penalties. So
And he took it against Arsenal as well, Clive, didn't he?
yeah, he's taken everyone we've had since Chelsea.
Oh, look at you, everyone. I remember you. 2 years since I've had a penalty and all this. Now he's got three inside about an hour. I don't know if that says more about you or Wolves. It's obviously been not that long since we spoke to you, Neil. What have you made of the few games recently?
Yeah, I mean, so the Brentford game was good fun as we predicted. High scoring, couple of good goalkeeping issues. That I think we did touch upon because well, when we last spoke, we were just coming off. Travers had done very well, obviously through the run of more difficult fixtures. Now we've had obviously two very difficult games. I think most would agree: Brentford away and Brighton at any day of the week. Difficult, but we were very competitive in both games, and then a good win against Wolves. So, I'm pretty happy. Mid table, but a win, and you're where I think we can go as high as seventh. So
Yeah, it's
that's
it's it's very bunched at the moment
yeah,
in the Premier League, isn't it? As it stands. I mean, basically, if you win a couple, you're going to be in the top six, and if you lose a couple, you're going to drop down to sort of roughly where you are. I mean, you're 18th, Neil. That's 5 points behind Brighton, who are fourth.
yeah.
So that's how tight it is. And a victory on Thursday would take you above mine and Ricky's team. Ricky, do we get Jekyll or Hyde Thursday, or something in between? What is it going to be this week?
Well, we're due a good performance.
So we go good shit, good shit,
Yeah,
basically. Okay.
exactly that. Yeah, but I can't see it at the moment. In all honesty, um, the team is obviously half a team just now with all the injuries, and that wasn't a good performance, mate. There was still some very good players on the pitch yesterday, and that was not a good performance. Some people that have been playing well or that did play well against City just didn't turn up, and yeah, that was bad. That was a bad performance. So, on the face of you're only as good as your last game. On the face of that, Bournemouth are going to give us a right spanking this week.
Try anything into the Thursday Sunday narrative?
No, because it's the same for Champions League teams as a Wednesday, Saturday. So psychological, maybe, but there's no extra time between games.
Okay, that was quite a mad game Tottenham had on Thursday night against Roma, though.
But yeah, yeah. There was look, I think, although the injuries we've got aren't to necessarily first team players, other than Vic and the two centre backs, they're injuries to players that we could play in a game like Roma to give the other guys a rest, and they're not getting that break at the minute because yeah, all these fringe, well, not fringe players. The first team squad is been badly impacted. I mean, look at the bench yesterday again. I mean, it's just more kids on there. 16-year-old kid, a 17-year-old, Will Lancashire as well. Never played a Premier League minute before yesterday. So yeah, look, they're knackered, and mate, it's a wrong time of year to be knackered because it's a long old December,
Well,
and
this is
a lot of
it.
them to have.
Tottenham in December have Thursday, Sunday every single week.
Yeah,
Even though it doesn't, there's only 1 week of European games. Tottenham have Thursday, Sunday all the way through,
yeah,
continuing obviously with the game at the Vitality this Thursday. Solanke was a big miss on Sunday, though, wasn't he, Ricky?
Yeah, massively. His work rate. But people that don't see us play won't possibly appreciate it because they're not seeing goals and assists coming through. But his work rate and what he allows other people to do in the team is you can't replace that. It's absolutely brilliant what he's been doing. And yeah, he was massive. And I don't know if look, I don't know what this illness is. He could have just had the trots, or it could be something a bit more sinister. Whether he'll play on Thursday or not, I don't know, but he will be a big miss if he's not there.
Well, time recording, it's Monday night. We can only go on the information that we got pre-game yesterday was that he was at the stadium and he was sent home.
Mm.
So make of that what you will. Neil, have you been keeping a keen eye on what's happening with Solanke? I guess first and foremost, actually, does he get a good reception on Thursday
Yeah,
if he plays?
absolutely. I'd be very surprised if there's any negativity there. I mean, he served us well, and he went for a large fee. I mean, what more do you want as a fan, really? Like,
Is
so
that
yeah,
is that
there was
clapping
no.
when it starts, but then pantomime booing
Oh,
when the
100%.
game starts? Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean
That's
that's
fair
that's
enough.
that's fair game, isn't
Yeah, of course it
it?
is. Absolutely. I wouldn't expect anything different from that. What have you made of his acclimatization to playing for Tottenham?
I think Ricky's nailed on like exactly what he does and brings to the table there, right? In that he going to be a 20 goal striker. I mean, I know he got close for us last year, but that's just because he was our figurehead. But just everything he does, and it's quite funny reading obviously Twitter as we do, and you sort of see like almost flip flopping from when he's scored versus when he hasn't, and I'm just sort of when I have seen him, he does exactly what he did for us in that he just drives everything, and then you'll be like, oh, he's right, he's knocking a defensive corner away from the back post because that's just where he is, right? He's all over. So yeah, I mean, I'm pleased to see that I think he's getting there right for you guys. Is my understanding. Like he's not quite what you'd want for 65 yet, but he's definitely getting there.
No, I'm delighted with him, and I think I actually thought Thursday. I didn't think he was great actually, Ricky, but I think you see the absence of him like yesterday. It's just yeah, really, really bad. Ricky did say though, Neil. He said obviously it's really difficult, obviously for Tottenham to replace him. Have you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, without being too flippant, I mean, replace is the wrong word because we've changed. Evan Nilsson is not the same type of forward that Solanke is. He is a lot more of a forward. That's an awful turn of
Yeah,
phrase, but I don't want to
yeah,
be too
tut.
football manager about it. But whereas Solanke is everywhere and he will tread every blade of grass in with that press. Evan Nilsson is much more about that final third and where his press in that final third. He's always on that shoulder, and we've seen a couple of instances where he's been a toe offside, like in versus Brentford, versus Leicester as well. But then actually that press is what pretty much, which is why we've got 3 penalties against Wolves, right? Because he was pressing the goalkeeper in the box. So I think actually in a weird way, while it's not a replacement like for like, it's very much suits what Iraola wants to do.
He'll have some appeal for fantasy managers at the moment.
Mm.
What would you say, Neil, for those looking to invest?
Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot. I think with our fixtures that we've got, he's going to be doing what he's just done in terms of leading that press. There's always going to be a chance that when you're tackling the goalkeeper in the box, there's always going to be a chance that a keeper is going to do exactly what Sarr did, right, and not make contact with the player, not the ball. Then it's you're going to get a penalty every time. He's going to be challenging in a way that means that he enables us to sort of really drive forward. So there's going to be times where he'll win the ball and then pass it off to a Kluivert or whoever. Plus, actually, his finishing is really good. Some of the goal we saw against City, as an example, where it's just a one-time natural finish, right? So he's got kind of everything you want in an asset, apart from the fact he's not on penalties. But everything else, I think he's going to get goals and assists in this run that we have now till Christmas, 100%.
So if FPL Tom Cobley said to you, Neil, I want to buy Evan Nilsson for Dominic Solanke, you would say,
Yeah, I think so at the moment. I think just because I think Evan Nilsson's going to be more goal involved. Is my gut anyway.
Okay, that's interesting because there's other attacking assets certainly to look at from your team that I want to cover. Ricky, what would you say to people who are looking at Solanke and obviously we have no idea at the moment if he's going to play Thursday. My best guess is he probably does if he's turned up to the stadium. He can't have been stuck to the toilet would be my guess. So I'm going to guess he probably does play. What would you say to Solanke owners?
Uh, well, I would say stick with him, but considering that I sold Solanke last night, um, yeah, I look for people that don't have Jackson, like me, or at least didn't, it's a very, very easy switch if you've got that point four. If you've got no money or you've already got Jackson, um, you could downgrade to if you haven't got Cunha, similar price, Evan Nilsson, João Pedro, but we our fixtures aren't horrific, and Slanky is a massive part of that team. When he's fit, he will play, and he's a fit lad as well. He's not necessarily going to struggle with the Thursday Sunday because he is a fit lad, so he'll play far more than he does. And well, to be fair, we don't really have any options around there anyway.
No,
Some
if he's fit, he's going to play, and also 90s as well.
yeah, he'll play the full game. He's fit as a butcher's dog, um, and he will be involved in a lot of the goals that we score, and we score a lot of goals mainly.
I guess Neil, that would be a minor concern with Evan Nilsson, would it? I mean, obviously play against us on Thursday, but could Enisu now start at Ipswich on Sunday, for example?
Don't think Unal's ready yet in terms of his fitness. We've seen him coming on towards the end, where either he wants to hold on a little bit or freshen it up for the last 10. But it's really not a concern that Evan Nilsson won't start.
Okay. Ricky, what Tottenham players you got at the moment?
I am now down to Pedro Porro.
So
I've
you
got
had Solanke before you've sold
uh,
that, I'm guessing,
yeah, I
to
had Solanke
accept
until
Sunday night.
last night, and I had Brennan Johnson until a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I kind of regret that one a little bit, but
Uh,
I did go on to other things, so
do you know how many players in the league got a higher XG than Brennan Johnson?
it's probably not many.
Do you want to guess some names?
Uh,
Won't take you long, mate.
Salah,
Yeah.
Cole Palmer,
No.
Saka.
No. There's a big Norwegian plays for Man City.
Oh, I was thinking of midfielders, but yeah, all right, Haaland, yeah,
Yeah, you can even. I mean, if to be honest, if you want to say midfielders, then it's just Salah.
that's it.
Brennan Johnson is third for XG.
What did I sell him for?
I don't know, mate.
He scored twice since I sold him as well.
We had a discussion about him on our Patreon Q&A, which I would assume you wouldn't have heard, Ricky. But if you look at Johnson, he's involved every game.
Yeah.
His XG numbers in every single game. He's really consistent. He's tracking 0.65 XG per 90. You're not going to find much of that for 6.7 knocking about, mate.
No, he is at his value. He's such a great pick, and it's probably the best value pick in that certainly in that price bracket. But yeah, you could spend a lot more and get far fewer returns. I got rid of him lots. It was part of a thing I did to get Fernandez in, and yeah, like that hasn't worked out horrifically badly. But yeah, I wish I'd have kept Brennan. I really do. He's just good for morale as well, having him and seeing him steaming through.
You got Brian Boume, Ricky?
No,
No. Have you,
so
Neil?
I got rid of him about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've still
You,
got him.
you've got. Are you keeping Neil or are you moving?
I think for now I'm keeping just because so I bought him at the start of the season or
At 7.
thereabouts. So I'm kind of a little bit committed to that.
Yeah, well, I
Without
mean, I'm committed to buying in Bukayo Saka for him. That's a slightly different conversation. But one of the things I keep hearing with Bumo is, well, where do you go at the same sort of value? Well, that'll put a bit of money in your bank, and Johnson's data versus Bumo's miles away from each other. So I can see
What do you mean?
Ricky's getting a call from his wife while I'm in mid
No,
conversation.
sorry. What do you want? What do you want a lighter for?
Broken or missing.
Well, you can borrow. You're not keeping it.
This is
Other people like it's
Ricky. This is
amazing.
why I keep you around, mate. It's Planet FPL Gold, mate. Honestly, and
Bring it back.
he sold Brendan Johnson, the guy we're talking about. I was like, you're something else, you are, mate. You're afraid to close the door.
Sorry for the interruption,
No,
people.
you're good, mate. What Boomo to Johnson? I'm not hearing anyone talk about that. Or does it just feel like wrong time with Tottenham? Is there too much concern about Johnson's minutes because he didn't start at City?
Like Johnson is still under 10% owned, but and Bumo's 37% owned. I mean, that's crazy for the output they've been having recently. That's ridiculous. I honestly, I can't. Well, I can get to Johnson, but I don't really want to because it means getting rid of Saka or Salah or Palmer. Um, but yeah, he's just crazy, crazy value.
Yeah, I think
Well,
if I was looking to sell Bumo to someone in and around that value, I'd consider that now. I guess there's a little bit an off-putter as well that the next two home fixtures are Chelsea and Liverpool, but he doesn't really stop Tottenham from being the batshit that we are, does it?
we will still score goals. I mean, Liverpool's going to be a bit tougher because they're very good defensively, but Chelsea, that's going to be end to end. That's you could. I mean, it'd probably be the classic 0-0 now, but that could be anything. Three goals aside each upwards. There will be chances there, and Brennan will play a big part in that game. Well, we've got to play every available fit player against
Well,
Chelsea.
well, maybe not true because obviously he's left Kulusevski out at the weekend.
I can only assume. I mean, I can't even say it's tactical. It's just got to be because he's another one that just runs and runs and runs and runs, and maybe he just needed that little bit of a rest.
Yeah, I think Ange said it was exactly that, and I think Kulusevski will be looking out to play 90 minutes against Bournemouth and
Yeah.
against Chelsea. He's the best equipped to deal with that Thursday, Sunday. So I think they looked at this one and took the opportunity to give him a rest. It's not panned out. I don't think it's coincidental that our performance was nowhere near the levels it has been in certain games, and he didn't start.
But just bear in mind, if Slanky isn't fit, who plays down the middle?
Well, he'll play Kulusevski there, I think.
You don't think he'll play Johnson down the middle?
I think against Bournemouth, no. We keep mentioning this, Ricky, but I don't think Ange is keen on that idea at all.
No, I wish he was.
I'd like to see it tried as well,
Yeah,
actually, because I think his finishing is decent. That's
yeah.
what strikes me. But Ange has never tried it, so I don't think that's something that's on the table. Now that Solanke's at the club, Richarlison is still there, I don't see him being used in that particular role. He's returning well from out wide from a fancy perspective anyway. Is Johnson now the best Tottenham asset to get then?
Um, yeah,
I'm just
I
thinking
think so.
about long term, even if we're not buying now.
No, no, long term, yeah, he's a mainstay of the team. Yeah, all right, he's gonna come on as a sub in some games, but he's proved. I think every time he's come off the bench this year, he scored a goal or at least got an attack in return. Um, he will, otherwise he'll play, and quite often he plays 90 minutes now that his fitness is where it needs to be. And he's an integral part of that side. He's either getting on the end of something or he's putting it in the box. Yeah, look, like I say, Solanke, you're not going to hear me say a bad word about him. Um, Far better for Tottenham as a team than he is for fantasy players because he's not going to get you, as Nilsson's not going to get you those 20 goals a season.
Yeah, I'm beginning to come around to that. I still think Don would be very consistent at 7.5, but I mean, it's quite telling that Johnson's XG per 90 is better than Solanke. Solanke isn't bad, by the way. He's ninth for all players in the league so far for XG, and he's missed a couple of games over that
Yeah.
period as well, 3 games now. So Dom's data's not terrible either. There's been some anomalies in there, some very high numbers in there. I mentioned Neil earlier about for me, he's probably going Boomer to Saka. So to do that, I need to find some money. Tell me, my friend, do I want 75 minutes of a penalty taker or do I want 90 minutes of someone else?
So Kluivert or Semenyo is what the question is then, is it?
Well, I think I've pretty much already made my mind up, but by the time the people listen to this, I will have definitively made my mind up. Go on, sway me.
So you're thinking Kluivert over Semenyo?
I didn't say that. One or
Okay,
the other,
okay.
maybe.
Yeah, okay, so Semenyo, I think so. We missed. I thought we were going to miss him more than we did against Wolves. So the last 2 games, we've missed 2 key players for us. So Christie, hugely notable that which is why Brighton, uh, not to take anything away from them because they were fabulous. I think it made it easier for them to dominate us in the middle of the park without him. But Semenyo really has been that forward talisman for us this year. If he's not been directly involved, he's been sort of either the assist or the secondary assist. But yeah, I mean, Kluivert on penalties, and he just seems to be really getting into a little run of quite a nice bit of form at the moment. Because from memory, he had some points the week before as well. Just going back, a week before against Brentford. So yeah, over the past 5 games, he's had nearly a double points haul in 3 of them. So
But there's 4
he's playing
penalties in
75
there,
minutes.
and until very recently, Neil, you hadn't had a penalty for about 2 years. So, do I look at it now and go, you've got players like Semenyo, Kluivert, Evan Nielsen who can win these, or are you never likely to get one ever again?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a difference in how we were playing when we had those 2 years. We're a lot more, as we've said before, we're a lot more forward playing, a lot more that high press that Iraola really goes after. Just naturally, that's going to mean we're going to win more penalties than we ever have done. Certainly under Gary O'Neill, who had a completely different style of football, mostly due to necessity, but. Yeah, I mean, so I wouldn't, I don't think we're not going to, we'll win more penalties this year. I do think the Brentford goal as well, that was off of one of our set pieces that we're seeming to, we're becoming more and more known for now.
Don't worry, Tottenham are very good at defending set plays. Continue.
So, yeah, I mean, we've had a couple on, and that's how he also scored against Arsenal as well.
Yep.
So, if he's going to be involved in all of those, in set pieces in general, not just penalties, it's not a bad get at 5.3, and he's going to stay as that number 10.
You're confident. I guess that's a big question, isn't it? Like, what now? Semenyo's back. Once you've got everyone available, there is a lot of competition there, isn't there? We forget about people like Utara, Sinistera. What's the impact here for Kluivert? I guess for the rest of this month, let's say.
The rest of this month, so Sinistera is out injured for an indeterminate amount of time, so he would be probably the more likely threat. Semenyo is the right winger, as the sort of nailed on there, and then the left Atara would be more of a threat to say Tavernier than in the middle. So he's a wide player. So I do think the central role is Kluivert's to lose. Now, if he was to do something strange, maybe, but I wouldn't be. He's the most likely to start in that number 10.
And I'm sure off the back of a hat trick at the weekend, I've no doubt that he obviously starts against my team. Is there a chance there, and we haven't really seen this yet, that Tyler Adams has been available for you finally for a few games? And obviously Lewis Cook missed out at the weekend as well. We have seen occasionally Ryan Christie play as the 10. Could we get all 3 of them in the team together?
I don't think so. So I think, going back to what I said about Christie, I think the way that Christie is being used at the moment is suiting him down to the ground, and it's really instrumental to the way we play. I think Cook is the most likely casualty, but I also do think, as you said, Adams has been out for a significant amount of time with no football. So I can see a situation where him and Cook get sort of rotated, and then Adams can also be used as a sub for Christie to keep. We're coming up to such a busy period of time. Having 3 quality centre midfielders for 2 spots, that's not a bad thing at all, right? So I think that's where the rotation will happen, as opposed to the number 10. Whereas we've got other options there, but I think Kluivert at the moment is just going to be the option.
So you'd go Kluivert over Semenyo?
I've got Semenyo in my team right now, and I don't see that changing. If I was buying sort of new now, maybe just because of the hot hand, like if you were buying right now and you had neither of them, my gut is always to go for the player in form. He's also a little bit cheaper.
He is, yeah, 5.3 to 5.7.
So yeah, I mean, there's always a little bit of, if you can save a little bit extra, that might enable you to do something else elsewhere, right? So yeah.
Yeah, the only thing, I can't foresee problems for Semenyo. I feel like if Kluivert plays, very interested, but I can foresee issues. And he is, I mean, if you look at his last 4 appearances, 76, 74, 75, 77.
Oh, he comes off on 75 minutes every time.
Before that was 63. But yeah, I mean, literally 74, 75, 76, 77, the last 4 games. I'm losing an hour every 4 games versus Semenyo. Really, because Semenyo's near a 90 now, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. You don't. The only thing that may happen, because now his over the past sort of what dozen games before this, we didn't really necessarily have a fit natural right winger that you could rotate and balance Semenyo's minutes out a little bit. David Brooks has now sort of come back and he deputised for him against Wolves, and I think has done quite well, to be honest. So I could see a situation where, particularly with the congestion of fixtures, that you may end up with seeing Semenyo coming off a little bit towards the end. But I wouldn't let it sway anything. Semenyo's going to start.
No doubt in your mind about that.
No doubt at all.
I'd rather he didn't, even if I bought him. That's a selfish personal opinion because I very much rate him. Whatever I invest in here, I think, Neil, and this will go for anyone else who's looking at Bournemouth assets at this moment, feels like it's got to take me up to game week 20. This is a good run of fixtures for you. Tottenham at home, Ipswich away, West Ham at home, Manchester United away, Crystal Palace at home, Fulham away, Everton at home, before trips to Chelsea and Newcastle game, which 21-22. So wherever I go here, and there's every chance it's going to be one of those two players, Neil, it's got to take me up the game week 20. That alone, I think, makes me want to favour Semenyo. But you twisted my arm a bit there, mate.
Yeah, I don't think there's a wrong move, to be honest. I think both of them will
whichever
do
one
well.
I make will be the
Well,
wrong move.
yeah, okay.
I might get both, Ricky. Do us a favour.
Double blank, yeah.
Get Evan Nilsson as well. Treble up.
Politely do one.
That's my minus 56 team sorted for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Ricky, any Bournemouth for you at the moment?
Bournemouth, no. I don't know if I've had any Bournemouth this season, actually, thinking about it.
Probably
not sure
won't
that I
have
have.
because as kind of covered with Neil a couple of weeks ago, they were kind of avoidable at the start unless you kind of picked up on a Semenyo train because the fixtures were pretty ugly across the first 9 or 10 or so.
Yeah, it hasn't been. I mean, there really hasn't been a suitable kind of hop on point for me because I didn't start with any, and yeah, there's been nowhere at any point in the season where I thought, I must get some. Even out of the little bit of form wasn't there, maybe, or the fixtures certainly weren't. So yeah, I'm pretty certain I've had nothing all season. And I'll be honest with you as well, I might change my tune after this week, but I've got no plans to go there either.
Okay. Got any plans to buy Fraser Forster?
Do you know what? He was decent yesterday. No, is the answer, the only correct
He
answer.
was one of our better
But
players.
yeah, when I found out, and look, we didn't know in the stadium. We knew that he got an injury in the first half. We had no idea he was walking around with a fractured
Oh,
ankle.
with Vic,
I
yeah.
knew I knew there was something was wrong in the stadium because he kept on letting Ben Davies take his goal kicks. But yeah, honestly, mate, my heart sunk when I knew he was going to be out. But he made some good saves against Roma, but it was concerning that the ball ended up in the net 4 times. I know 3 of them were offside, but that was a concern. But he made some good saves yesterday, and yeah, look, he's not he's not a brilliant goalkeeper, but he's maybe not as bad as I assumed he was.
Do you think in serious? I'm just trying to think for like a wild card crowd here. Is he genuinely worth investing in at 4.3? I guess part of the question on that is he's obviously going to play in goal for at least the rest of this month. Do you think Tottenham will buy a goalkeeper in January?
No, because we don't do the
I
sensible
hope you're wrong,
thing.
mate.
Well, I hope I'm wrong because if anything happens to Fraser Forster, then we're down to Brandon Austin, and that's when I'd buy just a massive couch and just hide behind it. Um, Look, Fraser Forster, okay, good yesterday, but remember it's still Tottenham defensively. We've kept one clean sheet all season. The next
Two,
one,
yeah, two in Manchester, Ricky.
oh, sorry, yes, of course, United and City.
The only 2 weeks
Um,
I've bench Porro all season.
Well, I think I benched him for both. He came off my bench last week for I remember it's at the stadium to you. Alexander is definitely out, and he's definitely out. I got 14 points from Borrow. Yeah, look, it's still Tottenham defensively. We're still poor defensively. Mickey doesn't seem to be too far away. He's been seen doing some gym work, so he's not a million miles. But at this time of year, not a million miles away, could still be 4 or 5 games. Romero,
You
I
don't know.
yeah, and as good as he is, it's such a head gone at times. I kind of prefer Dragusin in many ways.
I hear you. I'd be really concerned about Dragoshin on Thursday.
Yeah,
The one interesting aspect, which I'm sure you guys are aware of the numbers, our two teams are the two best in terms of winning high turnovers in the league and by a distance as well. Yeah, I would much rather have Romero on the ball at Bournemouth than
yeah.
Dragoshin. This does not feel like a Radu Dragoshin game to me. And I would personally would play Davis over Dragoshin. Do you feel that way, Ricky? Like if it's a choice of left of Romero.
Do you know what? I mean, well, we've talked about it beforehand, but you probably remember my thoughts from last weekend. I'm such a big fan of Ben Davies. He's he's one of them players. He just goes about his business. Everything he does it well. Rarely has a bad game. Rarely has a bad moment in a game. Never lets you. He's not going to do anything spectacular, but he does everything well, and he's solid. And yeah, I'd much rather play him there in Mickey's absence than Dragoshin. Dragoshin, look, he's looked half decent on the right side. Every time we've seen him on the left side, he's been a liability.
Yeah, that repeats words that I've said, and I do fear that when Romero is fit, that Davis will come out the same.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's the wrong move. And I,
yeah, if it was Mickey Van der Ven coming back in the team, I'd be like leave Dragoshin in the team. It is just a
yeah,
left and right thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Neil, we've spoken about Bournemouth defenders a little bit, and we always come to the same answer of Milos Kerkez. Is that
Yep.
clearly the one to get? Is it?
Yeah, he's clearly the one. Um, Scored a wonderful goal on Saturday.
He's
So
grown his hair, isn't he?
it's getting there. Yeah, I think he's going to turn into one of these ones that you should see with a ridiculous haircut because he's just got that sort of personality that he's going to do as he gets a bit older and his hair grows a bit. I reckon he's going to do something silly with it. But yeah, wonderful goal and well deserved. He's really starting to. I know he spoke about for 18 months now about his attacking. You know how he's going to start chipping in attacking on the attacking side of the ball, and he's started to do that now. So you know, two assists against City, one goal against Wolves, and he's getting forward more and more.
And I guess a big positive for him personally at the moment. There's not really any competition for his place at this moment.
No, Atara's the only one that would potentially be there, and I don't see him displacing him. Not as first choice.
Okay. Any love for Kepa as an option?
No.
That was harsh. Go on.
Um,
Not a fan?
I think I'd honestly, I'd rather start Travers. At this point, I think the goal against Brentford is the one that sticks in my memory. Like being such an expensive goalkeeper historically and beaten clearly at your near post. It feels like every game there's one and you go, oh, Kepa. Come on. I know there's a reason that you were available on loan, but you've just won the Champions League with Real Madrid. Like, can you not? So, yeah,
I mean, that's loose in itself. He went there because Courtois got injured and he still couldn't get in the team, mate. So,
well, factual though. But yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know. I just don't like, it's nice. Like, obviously you like seeing your team have these sort of players, but my word, he just seems to have one howler every game, and then he'll spend the rest of the 90 minutes looking fabulous. But the problem is he has that one howler, and they score, and then that's the clean sheet gone. Whereas you know, Kerkez, at least you've got the opportunities to get more, you know, attacking returns there.
okay. Couple of quick fire ones for you to finish with for yourself, Ricky. Pedro Porro has been invested in again now since the haul at Manchester City.
Yeah, I was delighted to get a price rise out of him.
I mean, I can't believe that either, to be
Yeah.
totally honest. But the downside of that is I'm more tempted for him just to stick there for a while. What's the advice to both, I guess, people considering him and people that own him?
Do you know this? I was trying to pick my team earlier, and at the minute Porro's currently in, but he probably shouldn't be, and he's there purely because of his attacking returns, because he ain't going to get a clean sheet. But his attacking returns, 2 goals and 1 assist in 13 games is not brilliant. You know, there's better options out there, and he's yeah. I
don't know
want
what we're
to.
expecting. Sort of 9 attacking returns a season from right back. That's kind of the run rate he's working towards. What are we expecting?
Well, for 5.5, maybe. I mean, I'm being greedy, but maybe just a little 5.6 now. Maybe a touch more. If I'm being really, really greedy,
I mean,
I can
most
put
of the
that
points I've
money.
had from him have been locked on the bench this year.
Well, exactly that. I mean,
I've started him for 11.
I've had one haul out of him. Yeah, look, I can take Pedro Porro, save 1 million, and get someone that's going to give me pretty much the same amount of points because he's not going to get clean sheets, or it's very, very rare to get a clean sheet. And we've said Forster's done all right, but he's going to be the goalkeeper for a while, and that doesn't scream clean sheets to me. So I'd certainly, I mean, anyone that's buying him, please carry on because if I never get a price rise out of him, I'll make some money. Don't buy him. And yeah, he's an obvious one to downgrade and save some money to do other things in the team. Really obvious one.
Unfortunately, I think because of the goalkeeper situation as well, it really feels like I can't believe people buy. Well, I can because the points and it. I can't believe people are investing in him now. Unfortunately, I kind of stuck up for him for a number of weeks, but I've very much been at the point that it's time to move. And just I've not really had the opportunity to do it. Really, here's an
Yeah.
interesting one for you because there's every chance I'm buying a Bournemouth attacker this week. So then I've got the confliction of Porro versus. Do I play Wout Fass against West Ham instead?
Um, no, West Ham have got to score goals. My one
Wout Fass,
is
captain.
yeah, this might not be a bad idea. My conflict is Lewis or Porro. And at the minute, Lewis is on the bench.
Lewis. Oh,
Rico.
Rico Lewis. You've got to play him if you've got it, yeah?
Well, what I've got to play Lewis, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Pedro Porro though.
Bloody Forest at home, man.
It's once again I'm clinging on to last week's points. I've yeah. No, sell him, guys, sell him. No, buy him, but let me sell him. That's the one.
Ricky, any Tottenham players for you?
Going forward,
Neil, sorry, I meant.
Me, no, I've not got any Tottenham at the moment.
Any interest?
The Johnson thing is now interesting, but I just don't. Unless I save money elsewhere, I don't see how I get him in.
Okay.
But
Ricky, advice for James Maddison owners? It's another one. The underlying data when he plays, he's not
yeah,
bad.
I'd no. Is it does look, why would you get Madison when you can have Brennan Johnson? If you want to go into Tottenham, um, even Kulusevski is probably returning just as much as James Madison at the moment. So no, when he's on song, brilliant, but he's not doing it often enough.
Well, I guess there's a little bit of timing, right? Because when Madison goes off, he really goes off. Like,
Yeah.
Madison's got 5 more points than Johnson this season. You can't say that there's not a debate to be had there.
There'd be more of a debate if there wasn't such a big price difference between them. There's a lot of money to be saved there, and Madison will go off and he'll haul, whereas Brennan is consistent. He drip feeds you points pretty much every time he plays.
Yeah, I mean, look at expected goal involvements are combined of XG and XA from FPL's website. Johnson's 7.6, Madison's 6.96, and then it's a big drop down too. We've not even mentioned him, mate. Hyun-Min Son 4.48. Sonny is just not a consideration here at the moment, is he?
No, not at that price and not in that form. I There was a time to that game where I saw him in that corner of my eye yesterday, and I thought, oh, he's still on the pitch. Where's he been for the last 20 minutes? He'd just going missing now in games. Not even fitness, maybe injury, niggle, I don't know, but he is not the Sonny that we know. Not right now, anyway. And I think we're now seeing the downward spiral of him. He's still a fantastic player, but he will be less and less important to the team by the end of this season.
Well, thanks, Ricky, for such a shit end to this podcast. I thank you, and I thank Neil as well. Let's do correct score predictions before we finish. Neil,
3-2 to us.
Ricky,
It's a good prediction, in all honesty. I'm going to say 2-1. Sorry to Bournemouth.
Are you saying sorry to?
The Tottenham fans.
I think I agree with you, Ricky. To be honest, I mean, if Solanke's out, I think we're in massive trouble actually on Thursday. But I do think he'll play. There is every chance Romero will be out. Um, there is the Jekyll and Hyde nature of us that we could turn up and play really well. I'd certainly accept we won both games last year. We played very well at your place early last season. The Aldo was quite fortuitous for periods of that home game in the weather on New Year's Eve as well. So we've won the two meetings so far. I suspect you're both right, though, lads. I think Bournemouth arguably would be favourites in my eyes for this one. And no, I haven't made my Semenyo versus Kluivert choice, Neil. So I'm off to look at a few other teams and players to see if they tempt me because they might have a fixture against Tottenham coming up. So, Neil, anything you want to plug before we finish?
No, nothing from me.
Tyler Diblin, by the way. Ricky Saunders, anything else from you, mate?
Just get onto Patreon. I know this is a free to all podcast, so there'll be some people listening to this on Patreon. What are you waiting for? You're missing out on loads of stuff.
Well
Get to
sold,
talk
mate.
to us in Slack.
That's a reason to avoid, isn't it? In one,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Sorry, that your numbers have just gone through the floor now.
Gentlemen, thank you both so much. Clayton will be with me tomorrow for the Clayton and James show. We'll include a review of the two Tuesday night games in the Premier League, and we've got another clash of correspondence for you this Thursday as well. Fulham against Arsenal. Boo with Lewis James and Adam Pritchard. Just leaves me to say thanks very much to Neil and to Ricky. Good luck, gents. Ricky, say it, please.
Come on, Tottenham.
Cue music, please, man child.